Hey y'all, welcome back. This is Michelle from Michelle's Empty Nest, and today we are going to start on my childhood documented 80s style project. Now this was completely inspired by, lifted from Leilani at Leilani_Scraps over on Instagram, and I think it's just Leilani Scraps here on YouTube. I did post this image on my Instagram if you are over there and would like to check that out. And Leilani encouraged people to join in with her to kind of make it their own, make it fit what would work for you if you wanted to try to do this with her. And she did hers last month, so she's done, but I was in the middle of another project last month, so I'm waiting till September to work on this one. So what I did is, if it was a prompt that could apply to 80s and 90s, I pretty much kept it like it was. If it was something that was similar, let's see, for instance, I think for her number 3, she had boy bands because they were so big in the 90s, and I just changed it to hair bands because that was big in the 80s. And then there were some things that just didn't really apply to the 80s at all because, let's face it, the 80s and 90s were two completely different decades. Just different styles, clothing, music, everything. So there were a few that I just came up with stuff on my own to fill in the same 20 prompts that she had. I will be using the hashtags childhood documented and childhood documented _80s style. Now this first hashtag already has stuff there where people are just posting like, formal, photographer shots of their children. But this one with the _80s style, I didn't see anything under that one yet. So I wanted to go ahead and include that as well. I used purple mainly because the 80s make me think of purple. It was kind of like a super popular color. When I Googled backgrounds from the 80s, almost 90% of them probably were purple. And then of course, just the neons, the bright colors, the bold patterns. So all of those things I'm going to try to incorporate into my album. Now, I did also share a bit of this on Instagram where I'm using a Simple Stories Snap. I think they called this one the Flipbook style. They also have just a regular 3-ring binder that's in this snap system. But this is one that I've had on my shelf since last year. And I had considered a couple of other albums, but when I saw this one, I thought, this was perfect. To me, it kind of has that nostalgic feeling with this little metal clamp closure. So I decided to change gears and go to this one. But I didn't just want to use the blush cover, and also mine was kind of dinged up on the front when I got it. So I used one of those patterns that I found for free on Google and printed it off on matte photo paper, and then just cut it down to size and used a good bit of score tape. More than likely, I am going to laminate one and put on top of this when I'm finished, because to me, this kind of reminds me of a Trapper Keeper pattern you would have seen. And I think it would be cool to have that same shiny look and feel, and also it's going to make this much more durable over time. Right now I've got this one prepared just to go on the back, but I may probably at the end redo and do the laminated version. Another reason I didn't go ahead and laminate was because I didn't want it to have all that extra glare while I was working on this project. So this Simple Stories album, I have a template if you're interested in kind of how the size is. And the sheet protectors themselves measured 7 1/8 by 8 3/4. And this little piece here, kind of the flap that would have been where the holes were, it's just a 2-hole system. I'm coming in about 3/4 of an inch. Sheet protectors weren't quite that much, but I needed 3/4 of an inch to allow for my thicker paper to fold completely over. So I needed just a little hair of a bit more room than what was done on the actual sheet protectors themselves. And then the part that I'm going to be covering is going to be 6 1/4 by 8 3/4. So that's what I'm cutting all my papers down to, because I'm going to have this cardstock, and it's a Nina 110-pound cardstock. It's going to be like a base page, which I will score and hole punch, and then add my printed papers or whatever I'm doing that day into the album. So I know this little introduction has been much, much longer than normal, but I wanted to kind of just fill you in on all of that. Now, I did go ahead and print out the list for the inside, kind of like my table of contents. And then I also did my title page. So I did Michelle Was Here, because that was something that we did and said then. And I went back and found pictures from 5th grade, and then I did 10th grade and 2 from 12th. I would have been 10 here, 15 here, and 17 in these. So I was born in 70, but I definitely consider myself growing up in the 80s. I would have been 10 through 20. So, you know, middle school, high school, dating, driving, you know, meeting my husband, all those kind of things. So that's when I did my growing up. So I've already got this ready, and then I'm going to put together layout 1 and 2. So we're doing first game system and then girl bands. So I'm sorry for the extra lengthy intro, but I'm going to stop talking now. And oh wait, hold on. I did want to say I used my Dymo label maker to make those little labels, and I do have quite a bit of colors. I have several there, and then I also have like black and silver and gold and maybe gray or white. So I do have several different colors, and I just decided to go with the pink just to keep it kind of bright and vibrant. So I'm going to, for real, stop talking now and put you on fast forward. So let's do it. Okay, y'all, I am just going to go ahead and tell you, I struggled with this. I kind of have this grand idea in my mind of what I want this to look like, but I'm struggling with like the grown-up part of my mind that, you know, wants it to be aesthetically pleasing and more of my style of what I would create as an adult, and I'm trying to create it like I'm in the mindset of still being in the 80s and being young, and you know, and just doing the things I would have done then. So I struggled, but we get through it at the end. So I'm just hoping after maybe a few more spreads, things will kind of start to feel a little more cohesive. So my first prompt that I'm working on right now is the first game system, and I got the Atari 2600 for my 12th birthday, and I got several games with it. I loved it. I played it all the time. Pitfall was my #1 favorite, followed by Frogger, and so I picked, let's see, I've got 10 games that I just you know, Googled and got the game cover, the what the cartridge would have come in, and printed those out small enough that they would fit on this paper, or this background image that I found on Google as well. It was a free image that says game over, and so I just printed that out, and it's on the matte photo paper again, so you get that really rich bold color. It's not streaky. It looks really nice. And so anything that's matte in this book, even the Atari paper, I'm printing on the matte photo paper, and then just the pictures will be on photo paper. All right, so I'm scoring another piece of that Nina 110-pound cardstock at 3/4 of an inch so that it will fit nicely under that closure mechanism in my notebook. And this was some paper that I found on Etsy, and I'll link the shops below that I found stuff from in case you're looking for some 80s patterns. And that size that you see that's still on the table with the pink triangles, that's the size it was when I pulled it into Photoshop. And then I shrunk them down and just copied and pasted until I got enough to cover up this size of a page again, which is 6 1/4 by 8 3/4, because I felt like with the pictures I needed a smaller pattern so the pictures wouldn't get lost, and then I decided I would use a larger pattern as like the the title or the prompt name. And so this one was girl bands, and I picked 6. So I've got the Go-Go's and Salt and Pepper and Bangles and Bananarama, Pointer Sisters, and Vixen. So those were the 6 that when I think of the 80s, those are the girl bands that I think of. And there were a couple more, a few more, I guess, but there weren't tons of them. But these were the popular ones. So I've got those adhered down, and then I did my thinking fingers, and I was trying to decide exactly how I wanted to do my title. So I decided that I would go and get this neon yellow piece of paper out of my stash, because I knew I wanted to stamp and then draw. You can see in my sketch up there, like the cloud doodle, like this right here. I knew I wanted to do that and then fussy cut that out as my title, but I didn't know what paper I was going to use. And so I decided there's some yellows in my photos, and there's a little yellow golden looking guitar. So I decided to use this yellow paper. And I used those, the little shimmer markers, Doodle Dazzles is I guess the brand name. I saw them on Facebook one day and ordered them a couple months ago. Just one of those things I felt like I needed to have because they were a nostalgic item for me. I had those kind of markers, when I was young. So I cut it so that you could still see that little shimmer marker there. Now, those guitars, I ended up, and I changed the sizes of these as well, and, had some big, some small. And I decided that I would just keep them all on the title page side instead of splitting them up, so we'd kind of still have that group of 3. And I just ran them through my little Xyron sticker maker. I thought that would be the easiest way to get those little pieces adhered down. And so I'm still using my thinking fingers. I'm still not 100% sold, but I'm trying to put everything back into the album and see how it feels once it's all together. And it was just still missing something. So I pulled out this page again, and I decided, okay, I'll go around my photos with the pink shimmer marker. And so it's got like a silver foily look, and then that little bit of pink on the outside edge. So I did that, and I thought that helped a little bit. But it still just didn't quite sit right. Something was still not working for me. So then I decided to write Lilas, Love You Like a Sister. We all did that in the 80s, or at least everybody I knew at my school wrote that and did that little loopy swirl with the 2 dashes, kind of like an upside down sideways equals mark or whatever. So I decided to do that as a little doodle, and I grabbed this stereo clip art that I had already printed out earlier, cut that out, and I'm going to go around it again, or also go around it and think about it some more. And I decided to go grab a hot pink neon Sharpie and go around the guitars in that color. Again, I just felt like, I'm trying to think like I would have thought back then, and just done bright and fun and bold and colorful things and throw caution to the wind. And so that's what I tried to do. So then I decided to go and write the names under the bands, and I didn't intend to do that to start with, and so I barely have room at the bottom for Pointer Sisters and Vixen, but I make it on there. And just a heads up, I do end up going back over it just with like a regular Sharpie so that they're bolder and you can see them better. Okay, guys, that is where we are going to call this one done. I did a little bit more stuff off camera. I'm not really happy with how they're looking when I've finished filming, or now that I've gone back and added other stuff to it. I'm kind of struggling with trying to get that look of what a 12 or 13-year-old Michelle might have done versus what is pleasing to my eye now. So I kind of had to go back in and add some clusters and stuff to just try to build it up a bit. I don't know. And also, I mean, I feel like this is what I would have done. I would have doodled. I would have placed stickers, and I forgot that I had ordered these Doodle Dazzlers a while back, a few months back. And I used to use markers like this when I was in middle school or high school. They have that like shiny inner part and just a hint of the outline color. So I added some doodles and some little glittery butterflies there. And then this page I'm good with. This one, before I added anything to it, it just looked like it did not belong in the book with the other things. So I had some of these little digitized stickers in a sticker book. So I added those. And then I decided that still kind of looked plain. So I went around it with I did the one with the yellow. You can barely see, but there's a little neon yellow outline there. So it's got that glitter effect or shiny foily effect as well. And I mean, I think it makes it look more like it belongs with the rest of the book, but it's just, I don't know. I'm not sure yet. We'll see how it goes. And then this one I like better than the Atari one. I just kind of threw a lot of different stuff at it. Again, that I felt like I might have done when I was younger. Of course, the Lilas, Love You Like a Sister. We wrote that all the time in the 80s, and this little thing was popular here. And so, I put more stickers after I cut off the camera as well. So I don't know. I'm not 100% sold just yet if this is going to be something that I can continue in this fashion, or if I'm going to kind of have to scrap this idea and go with something that's a little bit more my aesthetic for now. We'll see. I'm struggling. But anyway, we're going to keep trying. And I certainly appreciate you being here today. It means more than you will ever know. If you enjoyed this video, even as long as it was, I would love a thumbs up down below. And if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, I would love for you to consider doing that as well and becoming a part of my little YouTube family here. So I will see you in the next video, and I hope you have an amazing day. Bye-bye.